And the theme of connection, I think, is very pertinent on a number of levels. So we'll just investigate through our yoga practice different aspects to that theme each week. And we're going to begin with tonight's class, which is called Connecting Through Breath. Unfortunately, our main connection at the moment seems to be spreading coronavirus to one another, and therefore having to minimize our connection. So there's a big issue of lack of social connection, which I hope people in this class are feeling okay. I know there are lots of people out there who are feeling very socially isolated and stressed and afraid with the current situation. So the word yoga means union. It means a connection of one thing to another. So we are really working at the root of what yoga is about when we explore the theme of connection, creating connection between what is the essential nature of our being and the higher focuses of our mind. So instead of the mind being completely preoccupied by thoughts and desires and things that just come and go, it is much more focused on what is essential and true and still and unchanging in ourselves. So let's begin with a little bit of centering and breath. And in tonight's class, we're going to use a very gentle and easy rhythm of coherent breathing. So again, there's a few new people tonight. So those who've been coming for a while will know I've been teaching coherent breathing a lot over the past 12 months. And for those of you with lots of experience in yoga, it's basically what's called a sama-vritti ratio. So an equal, sama meaning same, an equal ratio of breath. So in essence, our inhale and our exhale are going to be approximately the same length, but we're not going to get too picky about how long either side of the breath is. We're just going to have a more of a feeling of balance in the breath rather than a precise timing of the length of inhale and length of exhale. So just sitting nice and comfortable. You're always invited to begin in a chair. It just means your spine is effortlessly upright. There's more chance you can just release the shoulders. And if you have tight hips, then not sitting on the floor is probably going to be a good thing at the start of class. So taking a moment, either with the eyes with a soft forward focus, downcast, or the eyes closed, just taking a moment to check in with yourself right now, noticing whether you're feeling energized or tired, whether your mind is very active or maybe a little bit dull towards the end of the day, whether your body has a sense of ease or whether you can feel that there's tension in your body that you would like to release. And remember, we take this moment of reflection without any judgment about what is good or bad or right or wrong. We're just simply acknowledging exactly where we are starting our yoga practice from. And then begin to tune into your breath. And unless you have a blocked nose, a cold, or any other reason not to breathe in and out through the nose, in which case just breathe in and out through the mouth, that's fine. But if you can, breathing in and out through the nose and just beginning to come into a very rough, equal rhythm of breath, inhaling and exhaling. And as you inhale, noticing all the sensations of in-breath, the way your body moves. Maybe you're aware of movement in the ribs, in the abdomen. Maybe you're aware of the flow of breath the coolness in the nostrils, the sensation of the air reaching the back of the throat, entering the windpipe, moving down into the lungs, and creating that feeling of expansion as you draw in your inspiration. Lovely word for the in-breath, inspiration. And at the end of that inhale, allowing yourself to find a lovely, smooth, relaxed, and releasing exhalation. There's nothing really to do here apart from make that little bit of effort to make a full, slow, mindful inhalation, and then to enjoy the sensation of release as you let that inhalation go. Let it become an exhalation. And whether you are brand new to yoga or have been practicing for 30 years or more, you can never really get tired of watching your own breath, of noticing its quality, its texture, its steadiness, or its unevenness. And just using your good intentions to gradually take your breath to a more and more subtle realm of flow and smoothness. So it really feels as if you are effortlessly drawing in an inhale. And when that inhale has reached its comfortable fullness, effortlessly letting go with the exhale. And experiencing that breath as having this reflection, this balance, the length of the inhale reflecting the length of the exhale.
Sorry, I don't know that.
That's it. Alexa's on her final warning there. She's going to get unplugged. That's called not learning from previous experience. Okay, and then just letting the next inhale go. So no longer consciously controlling that breath so much, but just allowing it to settle into an easy rhythm, breathing in and out through the nose. So we're going to try and maintain that feeling of balance and equality of the in-breath and the out-breath during the class, but without specifically trying to focus in on that and zoom in on that. So more of a sensation of balance in the breath. So let's bring the palms together now in front of the heart. And this time as we breathe in, we're going to draw the arms apart and draw the shoulders back. And as we exhale, bringing the palms back to their starting position. So if your shoulders are tight, or if the front of the chest is tight, if you're finding it difficult to really achieve a smooth, full inhale, just absolutely do your best. It really doesn't matter. Just inhale, enjoy the movement to reflect the inhale, and enjoy the movement to reflect the exhale. And we're doing this with a lot of softness in the shoulders. So if they're feeling a little bit tight, try to have an intention of beginning to release the shoulders. We're moving them forwards and backwards. This is an anatomical movement of the shoulders called retraction when we draw the shoulder blades back, and protraction when we take the shoulder blades forward. So if I exaggerate that with my arms, shoulder blades are doing this with the breath. And as they do that forwards and backwards movement, we're stretching some of the muscles at the back of the body on the exhale, and we're stretching some of the muscles at the front of the body on in-breath. Just a couple more of those, maybe just exaggerating that drawing back of the shoulders, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other at the end of your inhale, and at the end of your exhale, just drawing the shoulder blades round the corner a little bit. So if you were to play with this a little bit in your own time, it's a very simple movement, but you can develop it significantly over a number of breaths and really get a lot of new movement back into the shoulders if they become a little bit tight and fixed from not moving over the Christmas period. So next time we exhale, we're just going to let the arms go, let them hang beside the body, and give the arms a little shake, and try to feel as if the shoulders are soft, so they're moving down away from the ears, and the weight of the arms is just hanging from the shoulders. So from here downwards, there's no tension in the arm. If someone came along and gave your arm a little wiggle, it would be all floppy. It wouldn't be stiff like that. So real softness. And we're going to be doing a lot of that tonight, trying to find where there's tension and then invite softness into that tension. So the connection here is between the breath and between the body, and the way in which the two can affect each other. So this time we're going to turn the palms outwards, but I'm not just turning the palms outwards, I'm rotating at the shoulders. So this is a different movement. The shoulders are staying back and down, but I'm rotating the upper arms out. See if we can do that. So although we're turning the palms, I could turn the palms and that would be a movement from the elbow downwards. I'd like to try and feel as if you're turning the whole of the arm out, the upper arm's rotating out, the forearm rotating out. So you really feel a sense of space and openness here. And this is a great place. It doesn't matter if your arms are back here, level with the hips, or well forward, wherever your shoulders are comfortable. And now we can breathe in and let our arms float up. As soon as you feel the shoulders begin to lift, that's as far as you want to go. So just about this high, turn the palms and exhale. Release the hands down. Turn the palms, inhale. Turn the palms, exhale. The turning of the palms is just like when we're writing a sentence and we want to add punctuation. It's the full stop at the end of the in-breath and the full stop at the end of the exhale. And that means that both halves of the breath are going to be full. They're not going to be clipped. We're going to give the space for that full inhale, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Turn the palms. And exhale, beginning, middle, and end. So we're just going to do it a couple more, and we'll see if we can just develop this a little bit more. So for those who want to, if you want a little bit more of a stretch, feel free to go as high as you want to on the inhale. And then everybody on the exhale, this time we're going to come all the way down and let the arms go soft for that little pause. Turn and come up. So just extending both movements. So let's have a go at that. Breathing in, floating the arms up. This time for those who can and want to, having a fuller stretch. Turning the palms and exhale. This time exhaling all the way down till you feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Breathing in. Breathing out. And because we're doing a very even arm movement, the same for the inhale and the exhale, in terms of how much movement there is, this movement is really supporting you as you embed that habit of this feeling of an equal breath, equal inhale and exhale. And at the end of this next exhale, we will let the arms hang again. We'll give them a little shake, make them as soft as possible. And then if we breathe in and lift the shoulders up, and you can almost feel as if you're drawing your head down into the body like a tortoise going into its shell. And then exhaling, extending the neck, lifting the crown of the head and drawing the shoulders back and down, creating as much space between the shoulders and the ears. Let's do that again. Inhale and exhale. And once more, inhale and exhale. And give the arms another little shake. And in 3 simple practices there, we did all the major movements of the shoulder girdle and the shoulder blades. And that's such an important area of tension for many of us. So we just kind of finish off with a little check-in with how we're doing with the shoulders by breathing in and bringing the shoulders forwards and up, and then breathing out, back and down. So we're just moving the shoulders, and again, the arms are hanging floppy as you can, just to add a little bit of weight. So you've got something to lift and then something to release. And once more. Have another little shake. If the shoulders are feeling really tense, please do not worry. That is a very common feeling. But you can make rapid progress with these shoulder releases. So now we're resting the fingertips somewhere comfortable towards the top of the shoulders and making big circles with the elbows. So again, really relax the shoulders as the elbows come in towards each other, breathing in, opening up, and then breathing out, circling back and down. And once more. And release the arms. Lovely. So we're going to move on now a little bit to a back release. And this is one we do pretty much every week in this class. And it works brilliantly from a chair. It works better from a chair than on the mat. So bear with me. We've just got a couple more practices we're going to do from the chair, and then those who want to come down to the mat can. So I've got my feet on a yoga block. So that's not necessary. As long as you can get your feet flat on the floor and really feel that connection down to the earth. Rest the palms on the thighs, and then breathing in, just draw a little bit of length through the front of the body, and then breathing out, softly taking the body forwards. So the arms are acting like a little bit of support for the upper body. And you're just going to come down until you've really gone far enough. That might be when the abdomen starts to rest on the thighs, or the lower ribs are touching the thighs. And last of all, tucking the chin in and just letting the back of the neck be lengthened by that intention of pointing the crown of the head forwards towards the floor in front of you. And then when we're here, you can either keep the arms on the thighs. If you want to go a little bit deeper and you're used to doing this practice, you could just let the arms hang from the shoulders again, down the outside of the shins. And then we're going to take a little bit of subtle wriggling here. You can probably hardly see this movement, but I'm drawing first the left sit bone back, and then the right sit bone back, and then using the exhale to soften forwards a little bit more. So stay with it. I'm just sitting up to just see where we're getting to. And as you do that exhale, the feeling I would invite you to experience is a sense of release and spaciousness through the lower back and through the sacroiliac area. Okay, lovely. And then to come out of that, if you have the arms hanging down, just bring the hands back up, and then breathing in, come up to this position so the back is flat, And then you can come up either using your back muscles or push with the arms until you are back up to sitting. I'm going to take a little twist here, a dynamic twist, and the shoulders and the head are going to turn in opposite directions. So it'll go like this. You can just do this with me. It's very, very simple. So breathing in is when we try to sit as tall as we can. And then breathing out, I'm going to rotate the shoulders to the right and turn the head to the left and just release the hands down anywhere that feels good. And as you breathe in, just bring the hands back to center, head to center, and then breathing out, turn the shoulders the other way and rotate the head around to the right. So we can do 2 or 3 more on each side, trying to find that balance of breath, always inhaling back to the center of the spine, this central position, and then exhaling, releasing into this twist in 2 directions. So again, it's more important that your breath has no strain, is easy, is flowing, than it is to try to hold the twist or really lengthen the out breath. We're not doing that in this class or in this practice. But if you are experienced, you might find that as the exhale finishes at that point where we would have been turning the palms in the previous practice, you've just got that moment of stillness at the end of the exhale where you may just experience a little bit more release in the twist. That's really for more experienced practitioners. And we're going to go once more to each side. And then when you are finished with your last one, you're coming back to center, placing the hands on the thigh, and we're just doing another little bow forwards, using the arms to support the upper body, tucking the chin and extending the crown of the head, and taking a few breaths in that easy forward fold. It's bringing us back to the midline, just rebalancing the body and the spine after the twisting movement. Lovely. And then coming back up, again, you can use the arms, flatten the back, inhale, come up. And our last practice in the chair, for those who are coming down to the mat, is to either have the palms together, or if you can, you're going to bring the forearms together. So a little bit deeper. That might not be possible if your shoulders are tight. So this is fine if the elbows are not quite touching. And then as we breathe in, we're going to open the elbows. And this time you're going to take the elbows as far back as you can. So this is really an extension of what we did earlier, but also a little bit more of a back bend for the upper back. We're not doing anything with the head. The head is staying absolutely neutral. Exhale, forearms or palms together. Inhale, opening up. And this is another one where you really need to pay attention to the sensations in your shoulders. And if it's feeling really tight, just do a couple and then release the arms, shrug the shoulders. You know, you're not doing anything in this class that makes you feel like feel worse than when you started. That would be dreadful. And if you're just working like this, that's fine. But for those who can, we're finding just that little bit more space. A feeling of stretching across here through the pectoralis muscles, a feeling of opening this upper back. This is the breastbone here, the sternum, feeling the space there, a little bit of stretch of the soft tissues in front of that bone at the end of the inhale and coming back on exhale. Lovely. If you're still working, this one, the last one, and then when you exhale, forearms together, give the arms and shoulders a well-earned rest, let the arms hang, give the shoulders a little lift and shrug. So we're going to come down onto the mat now for those who want to. If you're staying in a chair, I will be demonstrating and teaching a chair version for every pose tonight, and this will be the first one. It will just be circling the upper body in the chair. If you're coming down to the mat, you're going to be doing a similar thing by drawing the knees in over the chest. And don't forget your support for the back of the head, which could be a folded blanket or a yoga block. So if you are able to lie on your back, just holding the shins, the knees, or the back of the thighs, and doing some nice circles around the back of the pelvis, around the lower back. And if you are more experienced, you want a little bit more challenge for the stomach muscles, you can have a go at doing this movement without holding the legs, instead having the palms flat on the floor beside the body. And as you circle the knees, you'll feel a lot more action in the abdominal area. Still keeping that connection to breath, the feeling of the balanced and equal inhale and exhale. And then coming back to center, we're coming into a hip release now. So one hand on each knee and circling into the hips. So a bit like a breaststroke swimming action. And if you stayed in the chair, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're just going to work one leg and one hip at a time. So round about 3 or 4 circles in one direction and 3 or 4 circles in the other. And we're always trying to coordinate our breath with the movement. So maybe slow down the circles if they've got a bit quick, and make half a circle your inhalation and half a circle your exhalation. And what could be more balanced than the 2 sides of a circle for our balanced breath? Very nice. So if you're on the mat, when you've finished that hip opening, just bringing the knees back together and taking a little rock from side to side and rocking the head the opposite way to the knees as you do that. And if you're in a chair, just coming forwards, doing a similar thing, using the arms for support, just stretching out that lower back from the hip opening movement. And then if you'd like to bring the right knee in over the chest, keep the left foot flat on the floor, and either holding the thigh or the shin, or you could have a belt around the shin. I'm just going to exhale and gently draw that right thigh in towards the abdomen. If you've got any reason not to compress the abdomen, if you had full hip replacement, or any other reason not to do a big drawing in of this thigh, and just contain the movement, make it a very subtle movement. So the knee comes in as we breathe out, and it moves away from the body as we breathe in. And again, for the more experienced amongst you, you can straighten that left leg for a deeper version of this practice. Chair versions are always hopefully a logical reflection of what is happening on the mat. And this one's no exception. And the same breathing technique of drawing in on the exhale. So in the next breath or two, just release the right leg and doing the same practice on the left leg, either with the right leg bent in semi-supine or the right leg straight as you prefer. And then this time we're going to just take a pause before the next practice. So releasing the legs. If you're comfortable with the legs straight and you're on the mat, just slide the heels away from you, release the arms beside the body, have the head neutral, either eyes closed or soft gaze up towards the ceiling. If you're in a chair, just sitting quietly, resting the hands on the thighs. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Notice your breath. I mentioned the importance of the head support earlier, and I know there are a couple of new people in the class, so just to emphasize the importance of that, you want to keep the back of the neck long and enough support under the back of the head so that the forehead is level with the chin, or even slightly higher. What you don't want is your chin higher than the forehead. That will mean the back of the neck is in a compressed position. We want a lot of space there. It's really, really crucial to the release of the whole of the spine to have to find that space in the neck. So moving on the next inhale, I'm going to take the arms up into the air and still inhaling, you're going to come into a stretch. Now it might be here, or some of you might be able to get the arms all the way overhead and really lengthen everything you can. Stretch through the fingers, broaden the palms, broaden the soles of the feet, push the heels away, pull the toes back. And as you exhale, bring the arms back and rest them beside the body. Now, that's a lot of movement to fit into one breath. So if you're newish to this practice, you could take an inhale, exhale, inhale. So take 2 breaths to get into the stretch and take 2 breaths to release from the stretch. More important to keep breathing than to try to stretch your breath further than it can currently accommodate. And in this practice, we're really focusing in on our theme of connection of the breath to the body, and really noticing the way in which we can use that in-breath of energy, of strength, to create a very big active stretch with lots of muscles engaged, and how we can use the exhale to switch all of that off and dissolve the body back into softness. So that's what I'd like to invite you to experience in this practice as we do 2 or 3 more, is the effort of the inhale and the softness of the exhale. As we improve the connection to our breath and improve the connection to our body through our breath, we get more and more able to intelligently manage tension, switch it off, switch it on when we need it, because we do need muscle tension for activity. We just don't want that tension to carry on into our everyday activities when it doesn't really need to be there. I've been a bit slow demonstrating the version in the chair, but I'm sure if you're working in the chair, you will have realized what that involved: inhaling, stretching, and exhaling, releasing. Lovely. So we're going to bring the knees back in over the chest, or if in the chair, just lean forward over the thighs to release from that stretch and release practice. And we're going to do another twist now, but this time we're going to hold the twist. So if you're working on the mat, do begin with the feet on the floor. The knees can be either hip width apart, or if you're more able, if you have more flexibility in the spine, you may find you can bring the knees and the feet together. We're going to take the arms away from the body at a comfortable height. Sort of about a hand width lower than the shoulders is fine. We don't want the shoulders to rise up towards the ears as we do this. So as my head is turned to the right to speak to you, I'm going to be taking the knees the opposite direction. So if you're lying on your back, just take the knees over to the side and roll the head in the other direction. It doesn't really matter which side you do first. And then we're going to take around 5 breaths in the twist. So just a couple of things to look out for. Have you managed to keep both shoulders flat on the floor? Because that is really the foundation for both the movement of the head via the neck and the movement of the hips via the rotation in the spine. So if either areas are stiff, there may be some tendency for the shoulders to begin to lift. And if you're finding it really, really easy, you can just activate this twist slightly by squeezing the knees and the thighs towards each other very subtly, so not too strongly, just as if you were perhaps squeezing a balloon between the knees. And that will draw you round a little bit deeper into the twist. And then on your next inhale, bring the head and the knees to center. Draw the knees in over the chest, rock from side to side, take the feet back onto the mat, and then release the knees to the side, turn the head the opposite way. So if you're in a chair, you can do exactly the same thing of turning one way and the head the other, just as we did earlier in the class, in a flowing way. If you've got the right kind of chair, you might find you can sit sideways on it and quite helpfully turn and hold the back of the chair just to anchor these shoulders and help you keep the shoulders down by feeling that connection to the back of the chair, head turning the opposite direction. So around about 3 to 5 breaths on each side, and when you feel like you've worked equally on both sides, and it is more about a feeling than trying to quantify and count everything, then coming back to the center in the chair, fold over the thighs, on the mat, knees to chest, and a little rock from side to side. So we're going to move into our hamstring stretch. It's one that we do a lot in this class, and we're going to do a little bit more of it than we normally do. And this is on my assumption that some of you may have spent more time than is strictly healthy watching Vicar of Dibley repeats, or at least that's what's been going on in our house. So this is where we're going to use the belt. We're going to take it around the right foot. We're going to keep the left foot in semi-supine. If you're sitting in a chair, just take the belt around the right foot. And as you inhale, you're going to allow the knee to bend a little bit more. And then as you exhale, you're going to allow yourself to take a stretch. So don't worry if the leg won't fully straighten, if those hamstrings are tight. That might just mean you've spent quite a lot of time in a chair. We all spend an alarming proportion of our lives in a chair. So we really need to do these stretches to the back of the leg to counteract that. So breathing in really slackens off this muscle that's short, and breathing out is a mindful stretch to the hamstrings at the back of the leg. So on this next exhale, we're going to hold the stretch, And again, please have no strain here. And what I'm trying to do is use as much belt as I need to keep the shoulders back and down on the floor, shoulders away from the ears, arms are relaxed, elbows are bent. I don't want anybody reaching and straining for the foot, either with a belt or without a belt. And just find that sweet spot for you. It might be here, it might be here, it might be here, or it might be with a straight leg and it even moving in towards the body. You'll know if you've gone too far. You'll feel this muscle develop a lot of tension. It might even shake a bit. If that's happening, just back out with the stretch a little bit, because what you're doing there is not a stretch. It's become a contraction. So really listen to your body, tune in to the back of the leg, tune into your equal breath. Lovely. And then we're still on the right leg. We're going to go back into the dynamic movement. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, bending the knee. Exhale, reaching into space, stretching the back of the leg. On your next exhale, coming back into the static held stretch, still on the right leg. If you are comfortable closing the eyes, just let the eyes close and really bring your breath and your attention and allow it to be completely absorbed by the stretch in the right leg. All the sensations you feel there without any judgment. And just inviting a little bit of space to come into the right leg. Okay, and then believe it or not, still on the right leg. Last time, inhale, bend the knee, exhale, extend. Inhale, work with your breath. Whatever natural balanced rhythm of connected breath that you have found tonight, just use that without any strain. The softer, the smoother the breath, the more this muscle will be amenable to lengthening and softening and stretching. And then for the last time, coming into our static stretch, holding the stretch and breathing. And then on the next inhale, I want you to bend the right knee and just release the belt. Take that right leg down and slide both legs away. And I'm hoping that the right leg will feel quite a bit different to the left. And quite often when I do a version of this practice from sitting up, and you can actually see your legs a bit more clearly than when you're lying down. So maybe people who've just done that in a chair could do that. Is that the right leg does even look longer than the left, and it is longer because if you've got tight muscles, that means there'll be a micro bend at the knee, and as you stretch the muscle out, the leg straightens to its full and natural length once more. So you can actually lose a bit of height and length in the legs if that hamstring muscle gets really too tight. Lovely. So we're coming back into semi-supine. We're taking the belt around the left leg. You know exactly what you're doing now. So just moving into your first set, and I'll be able to speak a lot less during this left leg version. For those who are working in the chair. Inhaling and exhaling. And then on the next exhale, coming into the first static stretch for the left leg. With steadiness in your breathing rhythm, smoothness, flow. High quality breath in and out through the nose if possible. Equal breath in the coherent breathing rhythm. Well done. Moving on to your second set of dynamic stretching. Inhale, releasing the tension in the muscle. Exhaling, stretching it out. So as we've said before, this method of stretching and lengthening the hamstrings is very effective because it coaxes the muscle in a very mindful and compassionate way into releasing the tension that is preventing you from fully stretching out your leg. We're always looking for that positive dialogue with the body, trying to avoid any thoughts of judgment about whether our hamstrings are too tight, too short. And coming into the second static stretch on the left leg. Everything connected by our breath. The stretch, the body, the mind. And then our last set of movements on this left side, dynamic stretching. And then our last static hold in this stretch. And then let that left knee bend, release the belt. And either draw the knees, well, first slide the legs straight if you're lying on your back and just notice the sensation in the body. If you're working in the chair, release both feet down. Notice the difference in sensations in both legs. And hopefully, overall, a greater sense of space and release now in the right leg and the left leg. And hopefully both legs are now the same length. Lovely. So we're going to do a standing pose now, unless you're staying in a chair. If you're staying in a chair, you're just going to be taking the left leg out to the side, bringing the right leg a bit more central, coming into this position with the palms, and then working into a warrior with the palms opening and closing in the way we did at the beginning of the class. And if you're able to stand, you're coming into a standing position. We often use the back of the chair. Some of you may find you don't need this support, but we're just going to begin with it. So standing close enough to just rest the fingertips on the chair so it's there as a support, and then looking down at the feet and just breathing in, lifting the heels and breathing out, lowering the heels, and breathing in, lifting the toes, and exhaling, releasing the toes. Inhale, heels. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, lift the toes. Exhale, release the toes down. And you can do the same thing in the chair as well. And then we're going to draw this left foot back, and we're not going to turn the back foot out at all. So if you just tuck your chin in and look down and peer down, you should be able to see the toes and the foot and see that it hasn't shifted out to the side. It remains toes pointing forwards, just like the front foot. And as you do that, you're quickly going to run out of space in the back of the lower leg, in the calf muscle and the Achilles heel. So if you go too far, you'll begin to feel that heel lifting. We don't want that. There's going to be a sweet spot for you where you can feel the stretch, but you can still keep that back heel down. Very nice. And then we're just going to have a little look at micro bending this front knee so that we bring the knee over the ankle, and then we can straighten the leg. So bring the knee over the ankle and then straighten the leg. All the time the stretch is continuing in the left leg. Now if you don't need the chair, bring the hands away, bring the palms together. The feet are hip width apart or a little bit wider, so definitely don't want anyone to feel wobbly or as if they're going to fall. That's why you've got the chair there, or you could be next to a wall as well. Breathing in, micro bend the right knee, and breathing out, bring the palms together. Breathing in, micro bend the right knee. Exhale, palms together. Just carry on with that on the right side. I'm going to give you a front view of that practice. So for those of you used to doing a bigger warrior one, this might feel a little bit restricted, but it's actually also highly targeted. So the arm movement can open the upper body. It's a back bend. We're going to keep our tummies in, keep everything drawing up. And the discipline of not turning the back foot out is really going to help to lengthen muscles that are often a little bit neglected in the yoga stretching that we commonly see. People are obsessed with stretching the inner thigh muscles and not so much the calf muscles. It's a bit like that movement in the beginning, towards the beginning of the class. You're really trying to open the upper chest, take the upper chest forward, but not the belly forwards on that inhale, straightening the leg, coming back. So on your next one, straighten that right leg and step the left leg forwards, and then give the legs a little shake. Those of you in the chair, you're just going to come to the other side now. So you'll be taking the right leg out to the side, the left leg to center, and you'll be working here. And we've got another little additional practice for those who are staying in the chair in a moment. Let's do the other side. So feet hip width apart, a little bit wider, and this time sliding the right leg back and finding that stretch through the right calf, right Achilles. Feel free to continue holding the chair, micro bend the left knee so the knee doesn't go beyond the ankle. That's the inhale position. Exhale to straighten. If you don't need the chair, begin the movement, breath and movement. Exhale. Of course, there's nothing to stop you going a little bit wider, a bigger expression of this, if you can do it without the heel lifting or the foot turning out at the back. So I don't want to hold anyone back, but I also want to keep you within a structure that is really going to reap the maximum benefit without kind of moving beyond a form that where we can predict what the benefits will be. Let's just do one more of those. And then step that right leg back, and again give the legs a little shake out. So our last but one practice, we're going to use the back of the chair. For those who are standing, I'll show the chair version in a moment. Again, feet are hip width apart or slightly wider, and just begin with a little bit of cat movement. So we're keeping the knees bent so we can take the spine forward enough that it's out of gravity. And here we can inhale, open the chest, and exhale, round the back. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, round the back with a nice flowing movement. So trying to feel that the whole of the spine is undulating with the breath. Doing that from a chair, you're going to slide the hands from the knees to the thighs, open the chest. Exhale, slide the hands towards the knees, tuck the chin in, round the back. Just be a little bit more circumspect about how much you do if you're in a chair, because your spine is much more in gravity, so there's some pressure there on the discs. So if you have any back conditions, you want to really make sure you're working within a comfortable range of motion that's not causing you any discomfort. And also additionally, if you can, if you're drawing up through the pelvic floor, through the lower abdominal muscles to support the spine in this more vertical position. Very nice. So just coming back up to standing away from the chair, I'll just show you the next practice, which is going to be just a little bit of downward dog, and then for those who want to, a little bit of leg extending. So using the back of the chair, we're going to find a position where we can really stretch out, so the lower back becomes elongated, the whole of the spine is flat in relation to the shoulders. It's got a big stretch through the shoulders, so any limiting factors there, just soften the elbows, or even if you had one bad shoulder, you could do a one-arm version of the dog here. Lengthening away. And then when we've done that for a few breaths, we'll walk the feet towards each other, and we'll do a little bit of extending the leg. And for those who want to, lifting the leg on inhale, lowering it on exhale. This is just to give a little bit of strength to the glute muscles, which are quite important for spinal support. If you're using the back of the chair in that way, make sure it's a good solid chair like this, or have it against the wall, or you could hold a wall or the top of a radiator if it wasn't too hot, or something to anchor the hands. So those in a chair, your downward dog is like this, breathing in, arms up, just one leg coming up. Exhale, down. So more of a dynamic version, because it's a lot harder work to lift the leg in gravity here. And then instead of doing the extending the leg back, so those in a chair, you're going to breathe in, and at the same time, as you lower the arms, you're going to squeeze and tighten all the muscles around the hips. So you're going to strengthen the glutes in that way on the exhale. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, squeezing and tightening the glutes as the arms come down. Those standing up, using the back of the chair, switch to the other leg if you haven't already. If you're doing the leg lifting, and if you're just enjoying hanging out in the downward dog, that's absolutely fine. This is always intended to be an additional practice for those who wanted to, rather than required. So particularly if you're new, don't worry about doing the leg lifting unless you really want to give it a go, in which case just do a little extending back like this. Lovely. Okay, and then next time you've raised and lowered the left leg, just release from that, walk the feet in with the knees bent, come back up to standing, give the arms a little shake, And our final practice tonight is just a little balance. So again, there may be some people who have to remain seated. That's absolutely fine. It's very hard to cultivate balance from there. So if you are able to stand, then do. We're going to hold the side of the chair and we're going to breathe in and just lift the other arm and bend the knee. Lift the knee, keeping the toes touching the floor. If you don't need the chair, we're coming into our dynamic heron balance that we do so frequently in the class. So the sideways view of that is you're just inhaling and exhaling. If your feet are a little bit stiff, if your balance isn't particularly good, it's really important that you're close to a wall or have the support of the chair, particularly if you're going to go on and extend this movement to lifting the leg fully off the floor. And if you're in that category, then just try to take as many opportunities during the day. Maybe you're waiting for the kettle to boil, just resting the hands on the kitchen worktop and doing that toe and heel lifting, or doing some gentle side to side. Lots of balance, really key thing to do. If you're on a chair, you're just going to be either lifting the heels and then the toes with the arm movement, or lifting and lowering the leg as the arms float up and down with the breath. Lovely. Okay, we're coming right to the end of the class. We're going to take a short supported and mild inversion and then come into our relaxation. So if you need an extra layer for this first practice, please do. Just going to demonstrate the position. The chair you've had now becomes the support for the lower legs, little cushion under the or blanket under the head. And if you have a yoga block, place that under the hips. That will give you the sensation of inversion. Bring the head back to neutral and allow yourself to come into a few moments of stillness in this inverted posture. If you are comfortable with the eyes closed, let the eyes close and just give yourself that additional space to really focus on what is taking place in your body, noticing your breath, noticing the sensations in the body, beginning to notice how well you've explored that idea of building connection between the breath and the body. Perhaps giving a sensation of wholeness, a feeling of connection, a feeling of integration, both on a physical level, but also in the mind, in our thoughts, and in our emotions. It's the stillness that yogis build through their practice that is meant to lead to a stronger, more easily found state of equanimity, so that when we deal with things, conflicts, just the demands of life, stresses of life, that we can use that stillness to avoid being buffeted around. So really try to feel that connection, that sense of stillness in you, and know that that is your birthright according to the teachings of yoga. That is our natural state. And at other times we may not experience that feeling of connection and stillness. And those are the times we need to turn to our practice and reconnect with that stillness within. And of course, that can mean a lot of different things and can be part of a spiritual practice as well. So we're coming just a little bit more now into our relaxation. So if you're really comfortable with the legs on the chair, you can literally stay with your feet up, or you might like to take the feet back down onto the mat. If you're sitting in a chair, you'll need to either be fully supported with a chair with sides, or come down to the floor, or treat the relaxation as more of a concentration and guided meditation. You don't want to nod off on your chair and fall out of it. And if you're lying on the mat, any position that's comfortable for you is fine. It could be lying on your side. If you're able to, lie on your back with the arms and the legs a similar distance apart, so the body is symmetrical down through the midline of the head, the spine, and the pelvis. Again, eyes closed or a soft gaze forwards or up. And for this relaxation, we'll take a little bit of soft control over the breath, returning to our mindful equal rhythm of coherent breathing, equal inhale, equal exhale, without strain, and with a feeling of balance between these two halves of the breath. And as you breathe in, become aware of the whole of the right leg. And imagine that the inhale is coming all the way up from the sole of the right foot, through the ankle, the calf, the knee, the thigh, right up to the right hip on the right side. And as you exhale, send the breath back down the leg from the right hip, thigh, knee, calf, ankle, foot. 2 more breaths, breathing up the right leg and down the right leg. And at the end of the 3rd exhale, just give that right leg permission to fully relax, to soften and release. And you don't need to move any part of your body during this relaxation unless it becomes uncomfortable and needs a little bit of adjustment. So the left leg now, breathing up through the sole of the left foot, all the way up the leg to the left hip, and exhale from the left hip back down to the sole of the left foot. 2 more breaths. And at the end of the next exhale, give permission to that left leg to fully relax. And notice the sensations in both legs. And then take your attention to the right arm. If you're lying on the mat, try to have the palms facing upwards. And as you breathe in, imagine drawing the breath in through the palm of the right hand, up the forearm, elbow, upper arm to the right shoulder. And exhale, send the breath back down, shoulder, elbow, forearm, wrist, palm of the right hand. 2 more breaths, up and down the right arm. And as you exhale, allow the right arm to soften and release. Awareness to the left arm. Inhale through the left palm, wrist, forearm, elbow, left shoulder. Exhale, left shoulder, left elbow, forearm, wrist, left palm. 2 more breaths, up and down the left arm. At the end of the next exhale, invite the left arm to soften and release. Notice the sensations in both arms and in both legs. Allow both arms and both legs to soften and release. Bring your awareness to the base of the pelvis, the tailbone, the pelvic floor. As you breathe in, visualize drawing the breath up through the hips, through the abdomen, through the center of the spine, the lower ribs, the upper ribs, the collarbones, the neck, the head, the crown of the head. And exhale back down to the base of the hips, crown of the head, neck, center of the chest, abdomen, center of the pelvis, base of the pelvis. A few more breaths. Allow the breath to flow up and down the center line of the body, from the base of the pelvis to the crown of the head, and back down as you breathe out. And at the end of the next exhale, allow the whole of the center line of your body to soften and release. The head, the face, the jaw, the neck, the chest, the abdomen, the hips. Feel the softness in the whole of your body now. Both arms, both legs, the center line of your body. The whole of your body is softening and releasing. And take one last moment to notice exactly how you feel in your body. Notice exactly your state of mind, its steadiness or otherwise. And then allow your breath to deepen a little, and move the fingers, wriggle the toes, and stretch into your arms and your legs in any way that feels good. And if you're lying on your back, bending the knees, rolling onto your side, taking a breath or two on your side, and then coming back up to sitting, either sitting on the mat or sitting on the chair as you wish. Thank you very much